Alright, so I am here today to explain how I put together the tablet for the itd1213 Hardware Systems class, Dr. Phil, Gwen, Professor. This is the tablet that I assembled during the class for the course project. The first slide here shows the dust caps put on the speakers to protect the speakers from dust. That's the gray things that are seen right here. Those gray ovals are the speaker dust caps. Those were put in place first. They had a sticky substance that allowed them to be placed on top over where the speakers would be, where these slits are, to protect from dust. Next, I put on the other side, this is the inside of the case. On the other side, there was a ring put on where the camera would show through. There should be 3 little prongs sticking out here. But as you can see, 2 of them broke off. I just had this one. I used a soldering iron to kind of melt that. It's kind of a plastic substance. And first attempt I had at soldering, felt pretty good about that, but it's not true soldering. It just melted the plastic to keep it in place, and it did stay in place. This is the ring on the other side of the case, on the outside. And the little black hole here, it's hard to see, but there's a little black strip that stuck on. It was you peeled off the back and you stuck this little black strip in the middle, and it's kind of a decorative piece. So when you're looking at the camera, you can see that what you would expect the camera to look like, and not just the inside of the camera. So this was all decorative. Right here is the power button. The power button didn't snap into place or anything. You just kind of had to lay it there and then later put the motherboard in place, and the motherboard is what held it in place. But right now it's just kind of sitting there on the case that holds the motherboard, the inside, the actual, not the case itself, but whatever this black part is. I can't remember what it was called. This is the volume button here, and then the reset button. These are like the power button. They just kind of slid into place and stayed there. This picture shows this black gel that was put over the processor. It's kind of it's adhesive gel, but it's conductive, and it was required to be stuck on top of the processor. I guess for cooling, to help with cooling, and also for conductive reasons. But that's what this slide shows. Here you see the motherboard being put into place on the case. The power button would be over in this area. Volume buttons are going to be up here and reset. Nothing really is attached. It's not bolted down. It's just kind of slid into place right now. Next, you see the cables are connected. One cable is connected here. Another cable is connected here. And that's what this slide is representing, that the cables have been attached. These little, it's hard to see, but these little gray, you stuck the cable under the white stuff here and then pushed the gray latch down over it to hold them into place in both cases. So you kind of put the cable down under the white and push the gray down to hold it there in place. Next, I installed the volume and return buttons. This was later messed up in my soldering, but you can see I screwed down, used the screws that were given, put it into place, so at least I did that part right. This one, you just see this is just kind of a bracket, a brace, if you will, to hold everything into place. These are the screws that held that in place and held the motherboard onto the case so it doesn't slide around. Next, you can see here, this is a screw here, this is a screw here, and a screw here. These screws were put into place to hold the motherboard down to the case. So the brace in the previous slide was put to hold it in place, but then also these screws were put to secure the motherboard. Next, I had more brackets that were this is the silver right here is a screen. The brackets were placed here to help hold the screen in place so it didn't move around and that it would stay stationary. So that's what these brackets are for, and you can see the screws put in place to hold those in. This is the TFC card, where the SD reader would go in. If the user wanted to put an SD card, a mini SD card into here for extra storage, they would put it in here. You can see it screwed down. The screws are put there. And this is my awesome soldering job. I had never soldered before, so I didn't do very well. Put tons of it there, but first time ever doing it, wasn't really sure. And the solder was actually as thick as the little holes you had to put it in, so quite challenging, and I did not do very well, but it's soldered on there anyway. Same thing here, the volume button. This is the gray wire. It's soldered over to the motherboard. It's underneath where the gray wire is kind of curved. You can see it soldered down there a little bit. And then I had to solder myself here. I had to put solder myself here, and as you can tell, I kind of mutilated it. So the volume button did not work, as you might imagine. But it's not going anywhere, so at least I got it on there. This is the Wi-Fi antenna. It's soldered here, and then soldered again up here in this area. I think I actually did that one pretty well. I don't know if the Wi-Fi worked. I wasn't able to get the operating system, but at least the Wi-Fi antenna was soldered on as it was supposed to be. These are the speaker cables, the red and black speaker cables. Both all soldered in place. I used the solder that came on the board. I didn't use extra solder, just soldered it onto the board. And I got the red on the positive, black on negative, red on positive, black on negative. So I'm pretty sure I did that right, but again, couldn't get into the operating system to see if it would work, but at least it looks like it's soldered on there correctly. This is the Wi-Fi antenna. It's kind of down here, soldered. Wi-Fi antenna comes up, and there's an adhesive plate. This is the adhesive that was on the back. You peeled that off, and then it kind of stuck to the case, and then also the screen, and that's how you get the Wi-Fi. This is the camera being installed. Once again, you put the camera under this white part and put down the gray tab to hold it into place. And then you see here, this is the, I think this one here is the back camera. It's on the other side. This is a piece that was put on top just to secure it. And then this is the front camera. So you have two different cameras. And like I said, I think this one is the front back camera, and I think this is the back camera. So this is the camera that would normally be used if you were holding it, trying to record something away from you. This is what you would use if you're recording yourself, so you can see yourself on the screen. But the cameras are installed properly, and no soldering required here. This is the battery cables being soldered. You see the plus sign there for the red, the negative for the black. That's soldered on pretty well. I actually used my own solder here. Had to use the solder myself. And I actually think I did a pretty decent job this time. I finally figured out you hold the soldering gun down, then put the solder on. And I had too much, but at least it went on there. And the battery must have been soldered on correctly because it would power on. So I guess I did that right. These are the speakers themselves. The speakers are soldered over here. The wires are soldered. And then the speakers are put into place and kind of snapped in. And these are magnetic here. These are round silver pieces. And speakers were put into place on the case. So soldered in here and then put in, stuck into place, snapped into place where the case is. Then you see the case is put together. It's all snapped together. This again is one of the cameras. The outside tells you where the TFC card is, the headphone jack, all of that stuff. Here are the speaker slits for the speakers that we put in. And then you see here, there's a screw here, there's a screw here, and this is a picture of everything being screwed together. So the case was snapped on and then screwed together so it would be secured. And then finally I did boot up the system. It got into this screen, and it said reboot system now, and you have all these other options. You had to use the volume up and down button to select the options, but the volume up and down button didn't work because I messed up the soldering, but you can see it at least got that point. So the battery did work. It at least got to this part, so I did something partly right. But anyway, this is kind of the finished product. And that ends the slideshow. And that is Carl Rehberg. My name is Carl Rehberg, and again, this is for itd1213 Hardware Systems, Dr. Phil. Carl Rehberg, signing out.